So now, just to update you, awaiting a response now from Fani Willis. What's the DA in Fulton County going to say after the judge ruled that she can remain on the Trump election case if she removes her lead prosecutor? That is Nathan Wade. Our next guest is brand new to the job. He is the RNC Chairman, Michael Whatley. He previously served as General Counsel for the RNC, a Tar Heel out of North Carolina. And, sir, thank you for your time. And, well, I guess your timing is pretty spot on. So thank you for being here today. Your reaction?
Yeah, happy to join with you.
Yeah, thank you. Your reaction to the news in Atlanta?
Look, I will defer to the president's attorneys on this. Obviously, they are the ones that are dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, but I think it's just one more example of what we're seeing as improper conduct. We're seeing the conflict of interest, and this is just one more instance of there being, legal partisan attempts to go after the president. It's frankly election interference.
Okay, so we will wait to see what Fani Willis does. Generally speaking, you're being rather proactive for this election when it comes to election integrity. I'm going to ask you about that in a moment here. But what do you think in the bigger scheme of the cases facing the Republican presumptive nominee? Do you see,
look, again, I'm going to defer to the president's attorneys on each case.
I apologize, Mr. Whatley. Do you see any of these cases being resolved before November at the moment?
Look, I will defer to the president's attorneys on the specifics for all of those cases, but I do think it's important for the American voters to understand that these are partisan actors that are bringing these cases to influence the election. And the fact is that they're trying to deflect from the fact that Joe Biden, under his rule, under his presidency, inflation is out of control. Gas prices are up. Housing prices are up. We are seeing 9 million illegal immigrants come across the Mexican border. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing. And so, America is not safer than we were 4 years ago. You look at the world stage, we're not in a stronger place than we were 4 years ago. This is an election that is about contrasts. And we just need to continue to focus on the fact that for all American families, they were better off and will be better off under President Trump than they are under Joe Biden.
Mr. Whatley, Martha McCallum here. I know we want to talk to you about election integrity and what's really going to change under your leadership at the RNC. But I do want to ask you one question about the former president's legal fees and whether or not a single dollar from the RNC or anyone who gives any money to the RNC, can you assure them or not that nothing will be used for the former president's legal proceedings?
Look, the president's campaign has made it perfectly clear that they are not going to ask for any of those legal funds to be coming out of the RNC. So that's a done deal.
Oh. Here is the cash on hand, and you trail significantly. The DNC has $24 million in the bank. RNC has just shy of about $9 million, 8.7 currently as of January 31st. Okay. There's another program that was started by the RNC. It was called Bank Your Vote. There you see the dollar figure now. You trail substantially, and we'll see how you can make that up in time. I want to show you a headline from the Washington Post now, okay? Here it is. The much-heralded Bank Your Vote program, aimed at getting Republican voters to vote early, will shift to a Grow the Vote program, focused more on expanding the party's outreach to less likely Trump voters. That sounds like a strategy. You can give us more information on that. But there was a significant purge at the RNC this past week. How will
we are realigning realigning the committee to make sure that we are focused on coming out of the primary. We've been in a primary footing. We now have a presumptive nominee, and it is absolutely essential for us to make sure that our programs and our campaign efforts are aligned with the president. So that's exactly what we've done. That's exactly what we're going to be focusing on. And we will absolutely have the resources that we need to communicate with voters all across the country and make sure that we get our message out. At the end of the day, this comes down to a very simple contrast between President Trump and President Biden. Were you better off 4 years ago than you are today? The answer for this entire country is no. I mean, yeah, we are better off today, or we will be better off under President Trump than we will under President Biden.
So in the last few cycles, they've been difficult cycles for Republican candidates. In the midterms, there was an expectation of a lot more seats in the House in particular that didn't materialize. So for anybody watching today, how is the RNC going to look different? What are you going to do differently when it comes to this presidential election?
We are going to be fully focused on the nuts and bolts, the mechanics of making sure that we win this election. At the end of the day, we need to turn out voters and we need to protect the ballot. And every dollar that we raise, every dollar that we spend is going to be focused on winning. It's going to be making absolutely sure that we are building out our vote and that we are going to protect the ballot.
So, and what does that look like? You know, people hear about ballot harvesting. They talk about the custody of ballots. You know, can you give us some specifics on programs that you're going to be spearheading to make sure that Republicans don't fall behind Democrats in some of those allowable voting practices?
Sure. Look, in every state, there are various different rules, but writ large, people can vote by mail, they can vote early in person, or they can vote on Election Day. We want to make sure that people have a plan on how they are going to go out and vote. Over 50% of American voters will vote before Election Day. We need to make sure that we are communicating with them, that we are talking to them before they go vote. We also know that there's a large group of low propensity voters who will vote Republican if they go vote. We need to turn them out. All of our programs are going to be focused on making sure that we maximize the number of votes that we drive out and that we have election integrity in place so that people feel good about the sanctity of their ballot.
Two more questions from me. Will you encourage then, based on that answer, are you prepared to encourage Republicans to vote early?
Look, people need to make a decision for themselves about what is best for them on voting, whether it's by mail, early in person, or on Election Day. We are seeing more and more voters, Republicans, unaffiliated, independents, and even Democrats, who are voting before Election Day. We have got to make sure that we are talking to them and influencing those votes to the degree that we can before they go vote.
Yeah, as you well know, it's not Election Day anymore in America. It's election month.
Right.
Yesterday, the Trump team sent out a text message asking whether or not the president should have a rally in New York. Mm-hmm. Is there a plan to make that happen?
Well, I will defer to the president's campaign in terms of his movements around. But what I will say is this, that we are actually having conversations about places like New York and New Jersey that we were not necessarily having with other candidates. The fact is that we feel very comfortable that we are playing offense. We are looking at picking up additional states from 2020. The Democrats are not playing offense. They're playing defense right now, and they're playing defense because they have a flawed candidate, and America is weaker today than it was when he took office. And it was stronger under President Trump.
Just a quick one for you, sir, before we let you go. The convention, do you have a different vision for what that should look like, and what kind of changes can we expect?
We are very excited about the convention. We're very excited about going up to Milwaukee in July and putting on a world-class showcase to formally nominate President Trump and kick off this campaign, and it's going to be an absolutely fantastic show.
But nothing different that we should expect. It'll be like it has been in the past?
We will make a lot of different changes to the way that we are approaching and we are communicating with American voters, but the fact is that we want to use this as a showcase to talk to all 50 states across the country and voters in every single community.
He's pretty good at a show, as you have seen in the past. Sir, thank you for your time today. We will continue to talk about this in the 7 months and 21 days, is it? Or maybe it's
33 weeks to go.
Okay, we'll settle on that. Michael Whatley, thank you for your time. We'll stay in contact. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.